Hey talkers, welcome to another episode of Check the Facts with Qui Talks, where we talk about style, influence, and the voices shaping our communities. Today, I am here with Jill Cruz, Chief Operating Officer of RFP SchoolWatch. I want to make sure I say that correctly. So Jill brings a powerful perspective as a leader who has built and managed a successful business from the ground up. She specializes in streamlining operations and using data to help organizations identify winning opportunities in the education market. She is also passionate about empowering women and redefining what success really looks like. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Q. I'm very happy to be here today.
I'm happy to have you. I'm actually excited because one of the issues and one of the things that many people make this a mistake of is what success really looks like, or what is the definition of success. So let's start with this. What does success look like to you right now?
Well, success for me is first and foremost being able to feel peaceful and calm. I think that's probably the biggest goal, like the big life goal, is to feel successful and calm and to be happy, to feel like the work that I do is pleasurable and rewarding, and to know that I'm healthy and I can spend time with my family and friends. I mean, that's ultimately, for me, success is something that I'm not just going to talk about my career or money or, building a business or whatever. It's all encompassing. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they feel the pressure to follow the whole idea of success is having money and being able to afford this or living this successful life, following what everybody else tell them what success is supposed to look like. So let's talk about your business real quick. So you built and manage a business from scratch. What's something that people underestimate about the process? Before you even go there, let's talk about what it is exactly you do with RFPs for those who do not understand.
Okay, so RFP SchoolWatch is not the first business that I consider myself to be an entrepreneur. It's a business that I stepped into. My father started the business about 20 years ago. So I did not build this business up from scratch. I built another business up from scratch prior to that. So, but RFP SchoolWatch like you said, I'm the chief operating officer. So I'm in charge of operations, and that basically means almost everything. But we are a little bit of a unique kind of business. We're very much in a niche market. We provide public data, basically, that's public. We gather it, aggregate it, and then we send it to our customers. They're looking for opportunities for public procurement. So let's just imagine somebody, they sell whiteboards or interactive technology or videos or something like that. And they want to get that technology into schools. They want to have schools as their customer, or state and local government. For example, your town hall, maybe they're building a new building and they need all new whiteboards and overhead projectors, or, all that kind of, it's just an example. They're going to have to put out a bid, which RFP is request for proposal. That's what it stands for. So they're going to put out a bid, and then anybody who wants to can apply to win that job, that bid. And so our customers are looking for those opportunities across the state, across multi-states, across the country, and even in Canada. So our company is searching for those opportunities all day, every day.
That's actually pretty cool. Now that you explained it that way, compared to the other times, I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay, understand. So, okay, that's not the business you built from scratch, but I know your business had to do with weight loss.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Completely different world.
Completely on a different spectrum. So how was that building that business and now jumping into something that's already built? What are some things that people underestimate with starting a new business or building a business?
I think the most important thing, and this is really for any professional is that in order to be successful out there, like, according to other people's standards of success, let's say more money, building a successful business, is that you should always be working on yourself. And when you're an entrepreneur, I would say that's magnified like by 1,000, because you really don't have anybody to answer to but yourself when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, eventually you're going to have to answer to your customers if you have customers, but yeah. So if you're not working on yourself, like doing things that are difficult, making phone calls that you don't want to make, dealing with legal and financial that maybe is not your strong suit, but you got to do it. So it is, aside from motherhood, I would say, is definitely the best learning experience and the greatest opportunity in life to improve yourself and become a better person. That's the way I see it. And it's hard. It's being an entrepreneur, building a business is very, very challenging.
Yes.
I mean, there is so 100%. Much that you have to learn. So, but I think that, if people can think of it as an opportunity to learn and grow and be better. And again, I think it comes back to the conversation around success versus failure. Like, what is failure? Okay, maybe you tried to do something and it didn't work out, or maybe your business didn't go where you wanted it to go. But if you take that as a failure and you give up, then you're not really an entrepreneur. I think entrepreneurs are by their nature just going to keep going after it.
Yeah, we just can't work for somebody else.
Exactly.
So, okay, talking about that, always going after it. And then with motherhood, you always talk about it goes beyond the guesswork. So how does data with what you're currently doing actually change decision making?
Data, you said?
Yeah. Yes, data.
That's interesting. So for the business that I own now and run now, it is all about data, and I think it's easy, especially as an entrepreneur, to go by feeling. Like, this seems like a good idea, or but really, if you have data, if you have access to data and you can use it, you're definitely going to make better, basically informed decisions, right? Instead of just going on your gut feeling. Not to say that I'm a big fan of using your intuition to move through life, but just take that data into account. At least then you're making a choice that's based on facts instead of your pure feeling. But yeah, that's really what we do, is we provide data to our customers, and they can use those bid notifications, and just, if they see one that's good, they can apply, and that's all they do. But I wouldn't do that. I would be proactive with the data. We're sending them a lot of data. Maybe they can learn about, discover a new product that they want to launch, because they're seeing all these schools are asking for something that's maybe similar to what they do, but not exactly what they do. So, honestly, I always say, because we see over average 2,000 bids a day. So we see all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And I always say, like, if I was going to start a new business, I would just study those bids and come up with something that schools keep asking for.
Honestly, especially with like data costings, it honestly costs more than anything anyway. It costs more than money, and they're keeping data points on us every single day. So if I had access to that, I too would probably start a whole new business based on that. Maybe I should join your business and see what I could build. Be rich by now. Okay, so let's talk about your women being able to, women in success, right? So what do you still think we as women are getting wrong in the field of success?
I think you mentioned it actually earlier about defining success based on what other people think of us. And I don't think it's only women. Women have a different approach to it than men. But I
Yeah.
think it turns out for women, a lot of times we are taught to be good girls and to please others and to kind of, not speak up and not be aggressive or loud or, pushing our way into things. And men are taught differently, right? So when it comes to trying to please others, then we end up maybe taking less money than we actually deserve, or not asking for that promotion, or even not applying for that job. So I think it's again like a life work. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but that endeavor, yeah, exactly. But that idea that of listening to your heart and knowing yourself and who you are and what you want, and going after that, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, and worrying less about what other people think.
It's the good girl for me. That just like, like, be a good girl. Just listen to, oh my gosh. That just makes me want to be bad.
No, it's like, not only do you have to be a good girl, but you have to be a pretty girl too. So make sure that you look good while you're being a pretty girl, and you're not, a good girl, and you're not, disrupting the workflow or the comfort of a man. Sorry. I love men, but I'm just saying.
I agree. It's the same thing for me. My husband tells me, he's like, honestly, you're a man hater and you love men, but I was like, let's be honest. We're in a society where they tell us we need to compare ourselves to that.
Yeah. And it's like, we're just trying to tip the scales a little bit more in our favor. That's all.
Yeah. That's it. That's all it is. Just see it my way for a little bit. Okay. So your brand, you talk about confidence, intentional, and self-awareness, right? What does living with intention look like for you on a daily basis, especially where your previous business had to do with weight loss and meditation and getting your life together?
So living with intention definitely starts with my morning routine. I do the same thing every day, 7 days a week. Occasionally.
What if you miss it? What happens?
Oh, well, I meditate every morning. I never miss it. For about 20, 25 minutes. If I have an early flight, I will, and I just can't get up that early, I will meditate on the plane. Undoubtedly, every single day I meditate for at least 20, 25 minutes. It sets the tone.
Yeah.
Meditation is like exercise. If you think of it as exercise for the brain, it kind of takes a different place in life. I think when it comes to health and wellness, people always think, well, first, usually fitness, exercise, then they might think about diet, then they might think about sleep. Meditation is like, oh my gosh, that's like advanced work, but I believe that meditation really should be the first thing, because it's training your brain to just be calmer, be more relaxed, and just to function better. My whole perspective on life, because I meditate, is just leveled down notches. I'm just calmer. I'm more confident. I'm more peaceful. And then I'm not as reactionary to things. I'm just kind of level-headed. And
makes sense.
I think it's pretty awesome. That's a good way to start the day and be intentional about then going forward. Listen, I define success as peacefulness and happiness. But just like anybody else, I want to make a lot of money, and I want to love my job and feel like it's rewarding. But I'm not going to compromise my health or my how I feel in terms of, just feeling happy and relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to compromise that for work, and I don't have to. Because I come in at it in a place of balanced, kind of calm and confident, and that just makes business easier, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll tell you for sure with the meditation, I too meditate on a daily basis. I have been missing it. That's why I asked you what happens if you miss it. There is a shift in me when I miss my meditation. So I haven't meditated for a whole week last week. And literally, I just felt like I was just jittery. Like everything was just, And then someone asked me during Easter, because I meditated throughout my whole entire pregnancy. And they're like, your baby is just so calm and so happy. And I was like, I think it's because I meditated my whole pregnancy. And they laughed. Everyone's like, no way. I was like, I personally believe that I kind of inserted some kind of calmness into my child.
Definitely. I agree.
That meditation, there's a lot of truth to it. But telling someone to sit still in a society, especially now where everything is so fast moving, and you tell here's a funnier thing. I watched on the news the other day. It's actually a trend now to sit in silence. It's a whole trend.
Okay.
They don't call it meditation. It's a trend that the Gen Zers came up with, where they just put their phone to the side and don't touch anything for 10 minutes. I was like, that's meditation, but they don't want to call it that. It's a new trend.
Yeah, because there's something intimidating about meditation. It's like, how do I do it? What do I do? And by the way, there's so many different ways to meditate. I'm a huge advocate of find if sitting in silence works for you, great. I do kind of what's called dynamic meditation. So it's a little bit different than just quieting the mind. So
what is that?
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Well, it's called. I learned originally the Silva. There was somebody named Jose Silva who started this type of meditation. And so I learned that method, which is organized. It gives structure to the process. So you close your eyes and you have sort of a journey that you go on. And it starts with relaxing your body, and then deliberately relaxing your mind. And then, there's a structure to it. I could go into it, but it would take a while.
So, yeah, I get it. So I understand that one. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look into that silver meditation. Okay, so now getting back to my questions. So how do you balance ambition with actually being happy?
That's a great question. I think the answer for me is integrity. Integrity means being true. For me, it means being true to myself. So as long as I'm being true to myself, my ambition should not be leading me astray. Because we could get into trouble with ambition, right? We could take deals that maybe are not really in our best interest or our business's best interest. We could have that air of desperation, which is never good when you're trying to do sales, right? There's a lot of things that people do in the name of ambition that are almost like self-destructive in the long run. So I think, to me, it's again, going back to that meditation, is if you know who you are and you know where you're going and why you're going there, decisions become easier about anything. It's like that becomes your guidebook. Should I take on this client? Should I do this job? Should I apply for that if you're looking for a job out in the workforce, should I apply for that job? Should I take that job offer? Are they paying me enough money? Only you can answer those questions. And so if you have that understanding who you are and what you want, then it's easy to answer those questions. Kind of using your intuition as well, but
that's actually a good point. Now, this leads me to think, because the way you speak about everything, so your weight loss business prior, was it strictly only weight loss, or did you also tap into like the mindfulness and everything tapped in together?
Yeah, I mean, that's what led me to all of this, honestly. For myself, but also for my clients, I was realizing with each passing year that it really had nothing to do with food. It has everything to do with your mindset and your beliefs about yourself and the level of self-love that you have, and that feeling of self-worth. That determines how you move through life. So that's part of the reason that I was actually happy to pivot into my family business, was that it was like, I don't want to talk about nutrition anymore. I want to talk about you and why, what is going on behind the scenes in your mind when you're choosing foods, or if you're going to the gym or not going to the gym. So, yeah.
Because my follow-up question was going to be, so why not stick to it? But now that you said that, why, okay. But how does RFPs and winning, proposals and getting contracts more satisfying than what you did previously? Because I feel like the way I hear you speak about intuition and being intentional and meditation and putting yourself first is success and happiness. I feel like that era resonates.
Well, so that's getting to something a little bit deeper. And that is kind of like, what's your purpose in life? And I have discovered through a lot of meditation, actually a lot of the Silva meditative exercises I've learned about myself. And it's not so much the content of what I'm doing. It's the type of activity that I'm engaging in over and over again. And so I know it's going to sound a little wacky, but I actually see myself as I call it a visionary. It's not really the right word, but what I realized was that whether I was consulting with a client one-on-one about their health, or I'm working with my staff or our customers, I've assumed this role of being a visionary. It's hard for me to explain it, but that I see that as my purpose in life. I guess a better way of put it would be inspiring people.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit more, it's a little bit more involved than that, but I think that's an easy way to describe it rather than visionary. In my mind, it's like I can create a vision and I can translate that to others and help them create a vision for themselves, if that makes any sense. So
no,
I think maybe it does. Okay. So that's kind of what I did as a nutritionist. And I do the same thing now for my staff and my customers. So
I'm thinking about it based on the data, where if you show me a list of data, now you're inspiring me to create a new product or inspiring me to move into a different field to get, okay. I can see
mean, that's so most of my work, I'm not engaging directly with customers. I'm more engaging with the people on our team. So they're the ones who are, doing the sales and doing the customer service. And so my job is to really create the vision of our company and inspire them to believe in it, and then to go out into the world and talk to our customers and inspire them to believe in it. Does that make sense?
You know how I see you? No, it does, because you know how I see you right now? Because in the marketing field, you have your chief marketer who tells the whole team, come on, go get it. You can do this. You can get those. And that's how I see it. So it's like, okay, I can see it. It makes sense. Okay.
Yes. So I guess, I used to use the word cheerleader, but it just sounds so cheesy. It's literally, I've decided that. But I mean, for weight loss, it's not really the right word. But and it honestly, it took, it's like life brings you experiences, and you can choose to examine them and look at them in the spirit of learning about yourself. And if you do that, then you can grow. And that's what happened, right? My business was slowing down. That's, the Ozempics and all that stuff was picking up, and my business was slowing down. And then my father started getting sick. So I started helping out in the family business. And it felt like a little bit like a failure for a while, right? That's what I was talking about earlier. But then when I started really doing some introspection, I realized that I'm kind of doing the same thing, but I actually enjoy it better because this is going to sound terrible, but when someone's paying you to talk, they don't listen as well as when you're paying someone to listen to you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's easier to talk to my staff than to my clients sometimes.
Well, that's also good. Like you said, you're paying them.
Right. And it's hard, health practices and eating and food. It's messy stuff. So, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it, but I do feel like I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I love growing businesses. That's really ultimately just so much fun for me.
Aw, okay. That I understand the transition now. It makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I was just like, but she's so good. You inspire me. And plus, but it makes a lot of sense, especially if you have a group of people you can encourage and you can actually see the results from them bringing in those clients and the proposals. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So now let's
also growing the business itself.
Yeah, grown. So like have you grown
new products and stuff? We have grown, and yes, we have grown. We have
Would you like to
better
take credit
revenue.
for it?
No, definitely not. I was part of the credit, but not me alone. We're definitely a team, and definitely not me alone. And we've also just we've streamlined a lot of the operations, which I will take some of the credit for.
Okay. Okay. So let's pivot real quick. So now this is where the fashion and the style part comes in, right? So you say that presentation influences leadership. How does it influence leadership?
So I might have a response that's not typical for people who are just heavily into just fashion, and like staying up current.
That's
and all
what
of
we
that.
want. We want the outrageous responses we've never heard before.
Well, I don't know if it's outrageous, but I know that if I'm dressed and I'm presenting in a way that I feel comfortable with, then I'm going to just show up in a much better way. First of all, more authentic, and also just more comfortable and confident. And the reason I'm speaking about this in that way is that in the past I had gotten. Remember how we were talking about earlier about pleasing others as opposed to kind of taking care of, knowing yourself? This is another example that I started to dress a way that I thought was like business. Like, oh, I have to wear, a suit, and I have to wear stockings and dressy shoes. And that's not me. It is definitely not me. And I always felt I didn't want to stand out when I was dressed like that. I kind of wanted to hide. But once I kind of decided, like, this is how I want to present in life, and I kind of followed that, then I feel just so much more comfortable, and I don't want to hide. I feel like I'm actually portraying myself, not some version, somebody who is maybe I think the world is looking for that. Not really, because people are actually just looking for you to be authentically you, right?
Yeah, well, that led to my next question, where it was like, do you believe that authenticity is way better than fitting the mold? So I would assume your answer would be yes, absolutely. That's a good one, where if you dress the way you feel comfortable, then you're more likely to show up as yourself. That's not, I think every fashion person would say, yeah, because I too, if I don't feel comfortable in what I'm wearing, I can't be Qui Talks. I'm constantly adjusting, or I'm just self-conscious in my head. Like, I don't like the way I look. So that's a great response. Okay.
Yeah.
So where can people connect with Jill?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. That's pretty much, I'm not a huge social media person. I was formerly with my other business, but now I lay low, but I am on LinkedIn and I post, articles here and there. And our website is rfpschoolwatch.com if anybody wants to check it out. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I can be found in random groups that are posting about various tropical destinations and, travel stuff. I love that kind of stuff.
I'm so going to look for those comments. I love that. Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining us today. This was fun. This was an exciting conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it was.
All right, for everyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in to Check the Facts with Qui Talks. Now, remember, success doesn't have to look like anybody else's blueprint. Define it for yourself, move with intention, and show up as your most authentic self, like Jill says, right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Till later. Bye.